Queen Amora always found peace by the river. It was her secret place, the only spot where her heart felt free. Whenever the palace grew too noisy, whenever her thoughts became heavy, she would come here to sit, to breathe, and to clear her mind. But on this day, her body was different. She was 9 months pregnant. At any moment, the baby could come. She sat on a large stone near the edge of the river, watching the water drift lazily. Suddenly, a sharp pain cut through her belly. She gasped and held herself tightly. "It's time," she whispered. She looked around, but no one was there. No midwife, no guard, not even a servant. Her cries for help echoed through the trees, but only the river answered back. The pain grew stronger, forcing her to the ground. Her body shook. Her voice cracked as she screamed, and right there by the riverbank, she gave birth. It was the hardest pain she had ever felt, but when it ended, she lay back, trembling and weak. Slowly, she turned to look at her child. She expected joy, laughter, maybe even tears of relief. But what she saw froze her heart. The baby was white. Not fair, not light-skinned, but completely white like chalk. Queen Amora blinked again and again, but nothing changed. Her own skin was deep brown, and her husband, King Daran, was darker still. She had never been with another man. Yet here was this child, a mystery she could not explain. Her hands shook as she whispered, "What is this? How can this be?" Fear filled her heart. King Daran was known across the land for his power and his temper. He was proud, strict, and without mercy. If he saw this baby, he would never believe her. He would accuse her of betrayal. He might even kill the child. Queen Amora held the baby close, tears rolling down her face. "What am I going to do? I cannot take you home. I cannot take you to the palace." Still weak, she rose to her feet. Her gown was stained, her eyes swollen, but her mind was set. She wrapped the baby in a white cloth and walked slowly to the edge of the river. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I have no choice." With trembling hands, she placed the baby on the water. He floated gently, crying softly, his tiny hands reaching out. Queen Amora turned away, unable to look, her tears falling heavily. She walked far from the river, far beyond the palace walls, until she reached a hidden orphanage known only by a few. An old woman opened the gate and stared at her with quiet eyes. Queen Amora fell to her knees. "Please," she begged. "I need a baby boy. A dark-skinned one. I will give you anything you ask. But this must remain a secret forever." The old woman studied her for a long while, then went inside. When she returned, she carried a baby boy, healthy and dark, sleeping peacefully. Queen Amora took him, breathed heavily, and whispered, "Thank you." Without another word, she turned and went back to the palace. When she arrived, the guards shouted in joy. "The queen has delivered." The drums began to beat. King Daran appeared in his royal robes, smiling proudly. He lifted the child high. "My son," he declared. "The Prince of Syria." The people rejoiced, praising the birth of Prince Kel. Queen Amora smiled for them, rocking the child in her arms. But deep in her heart, the memory of the river remained. She could not forget the baby she left behind. Meanwhile, under the river's surface, the white-skinned baby drifted down, still crying. Just as the waters began to swallow him, a shining figure appeared. She rose from the depths like light itself, Queen Marina, ruler of the merfolk. Her long hair floated like silk, her eyes sparkled like stars, and her glowing tail shimmered with beauty. She saw the child sinking and reached for him. Gently, she cradled him in her arms. "Who would leave such a child?" she whispered. "So bright, so pure." The baby cried again, tiny hands reaching for her. She kissed his forehead softly. And in that moment, his legs shimmered and changed. A silver tail grew where his legs had been. Queen Marina gasped in wonder. "You are one of us now." She smiled and whispered, "I will call you Oruran, the one given by the Creator." She swam down with him, and the child grew in her care. 15 years passed. In the palace, Prince K grew tall and proud. He walked like his father, spoke like his father, and was feared like his father. People respected him, but they did not love him. Queen Amora carried her secret silently, always smiling, though her heart remained heavy. Beneath the waters, Oruran grew too. He was unlike any other child in the merfolk kingdom. His silver tail sparkled, his skin glowed softly, and he was raised with love by Queen Marina and her daughter, Princess Selena. But in the palace above, King Daran grew restless. He often stared at the old royal scrolls that held the history of the kingdom. The writing spoke of a prophecy: every 100 years, a child with glowing white skin would be born. A child from the gods, sent to bring peace and power to the land. It had already been 100 years, yet the child had not been seen. One evening, King Daran sat in the courtyard, his face heavy with thought. Queen Amora approached him quietly. "My king, what troubles you? Is one child not enough?" The king turned to her, his voice low. "One child is enough. But I am waiting for another." Her heart jumped, but she said nothing. She bowed her head and left. That night she could not sleep. "Is he speaking of the child I left behind?" she whispered in the dark. The next morning, King Daran called for the chief priest. The old man burned herbs, prayed, and listened to the gods. Finally, he opened his eyes and said, "The child has been born. He lives." King Daran frowned. "How? Where is he?" The priest lowered his voice. "The gods have spoken. The child has been born, and he is alive. That is all I can say." Queen Amora, who had been listening nearby, felt her chest tighten. The past she thought she had buried was rising again. Queen Amora stood trembling before the king. King Daran looked at her and asked in a low voice, "Queen, tell me the truth. Whose child is this?" Her lips shook, her hands clenched her gown. "My king, he is yours." The king's eyes narrowed. He stepped closer. "Do not lie to me. For the very last time, whose child is this?" Amora's knees weakened. Tears fell as she confessed everything. She told him how she had given birth to a white-skinned child, how fear gripped her, how she thought he would never accept the boy. How she abandoned him by the river and brought back another child from the orphanage. King Daran rose in fury, his voice shaking the hall. "How dare you? Guards!" But before they could move, the priest raised his hands. "My king, do not let anger blind you." She was afraid. "Not only her, everyone fears your temper. Even I fear it." The king's eyes blazed. "How dare you speak against me? Leave this palace at once, or I will have you locked away." The next morning, King Daran, Queen Amora, the priest, and palace guards went to the river. They searched every corner but found no child. The priest burned herbs, chanted, and then spoke. "The boy is alive, but he is under the water." King Daran's face hardened. "The mermaids. They dare to take my son. They will pay for this." "My king," the priest tried, "he is alive and well. That is what matters." "Silence!" Daran roared. "He is mine. I will take him back." He returned to the palace and called for his scribe. His message was short, sharp, filled with pride. "Return my son in 3 days or face my wrath." When a chief suggested he soften the words, the king slammed his fist. "I am the king. My word is final." The scroll was sealed in a glass bottle and cast into the river with the sacred whistle. Beneath the waves, mermaids found it and carried it to their queen. In her shining palace, Queen Marina read the letter. Her face darkened. He commands me as if I am his servant. Not even a thank you, not even a request. Only pride. Even if he begged, I would never return Oruran. She tore the letter apart. But Oruran had seen it. His glowing white skin shimmered as he stepped forward. Mother, who sent that letter? What did it say? Marina turned to him, surprised. It was from the human king above. He claims you are his son. Oruran's eyes widened. His son. But I have never seen him. She touched his shoulder softly. 15 years ago, I found you sinking in the river. I saved you. I raised you. You have been my child since then. Tears filled Oruran's eyes. Then why did he leave me? Did my parents not want me? Her voice broke with love. I do not know why. But I know this, you are loved here. You are mine. Oruran breathed deeply. His voice grew firm. Then I will stay. This is my home. You are my mother. Princess Selina swam in quickly, hugging him tight. You're my brother. No one will take you away. Marina embraced them both. Let the king send armies. Oruran belongs here, and I will protect him with my life. But in her heart, she knew King Daran would not stop. On the third day, land and sea stood ready for war. At the riverbank, King Daran stood in full armor, his sword sharp, his soldiers lined behind him, men trained in dark magic. Beneath the water, Marina's mermaids gathered with glowing blades. The king's voice thundered. This is your last chance. Return the child you stole, or I will tear this river apart. The water rippled, and Queen Marina rose from the deep. She stepped into the shallow, her tail turning to legs. She stood tall, glowing before him. You call him your son, she said, but where were you when he cried in the river? You left him. I did not. You want him now for power, not love. You gave him life, but I gave him everything else. The king gripped his sword. Enough. Return him or face me. Their blades clashed. Sparks lit the sky. At first Daran's strength pushed her back, but soon Marina's sword glowed brighter. Oruran's power flowed into her. The king, desperate, called on dark magic. The ground shook, the sky blackened, lightning cracked. He wounded her deeply, but she did not fall. Then, a great voice rang out. Stop. The river parted, and Oruran rose, glowing like the sun. His silver tail turned into strong legs. He walked calmly between them. Enough, he said. King Daran's eyes widened. You are my son. Oruran nodded. Yes. But I grew in the sea, with love, with peace. Not under your roof of pride. Come with me, Daran urged. I will make you prince. You will rule beside me. Oruran's voice was steady. I do not want a throne built on anger. You cannot even say 3 simple words, please, thank you, I'm sorry. They can build peace, but you choose war. Daran's pride cracked. His sword dropped. His voice trembled. I was wrong. I am sorry. The battlefield went silent. Queen Amora ran forward, falling to her knees. My son, forgive me. I was so afraid. I made a terrible mistake. Oruran lifted her gently. Mother, I already forgave you. King Daran removed his crown and placed it before him. You were born to rule, not just the land, but hearts. Oruran looked at both women, the one who gave him life and the one who gave him love. I will belong to both, the palace and the sea. Let there be peace between land and water. From that day, Oruran became king. His first law was simple, no more dark magic. Only light and truth would lead. Prince Kale remained, not as a rival, but as a brother. Queen Amora never kept another secret. The kingdom of Zira prospered. The boy once abandoned became the king who united two worlds. Hope you learned something from this story. If you do, please don't forget to like, share, and drop a comment about the story. Subscribe to this channel. Turn on your bell notifications so you get notified when an interesting and educating story like this drops.